A familiar Nintendo face and franchise might be showing up in the hit game Fortnite, and Old Man RGT doesn't really like it. A big Xbox One exclusive could be getting new life on the PlayStation 5, and finally, a fake Nintendo Direct involving Zelda fools the internet, and I kinda wanna laugh about it. What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to like and share the video. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games. So one of the biggest video games in the world, and really one of the biggest video games of all time, is of course Fortnite. What was supposed to be just a little project ended up absolutely taking over the internet with the battle royale style of gameplay that now we see a million different battle royale styles of games coming out after Fortnite. It's very popular, it makes a lot of money, people spend a lot of money on the skins and things like that. And of course Fortnite has expanded into this whole big universe with a story and other characters from other franchises coming in. Well, right now Apple and Epic Games are tied up in a lawsuit for some reason. I don't really know the specifics of it. I don't really care about Epic Games. I don't really care about Apple. I feel like Apple products are overpriced, and you know, if you like Apple, that's cool. I'm team Android, Windows-based PC. That's just how I roll. But if you roll differently, it's fine. We are still friends. But basically a document, an in-house document, for some reason was leaked during this litigation, and it was available on the internet. It was made public for some reason, and like I said, I don't really know why it was. A lot of it went over the 2020 stuff for Fortnite. Of course, Fortnite got a bunch of new characters in 2020 with characters like Kratos from God of War and of course Master Chief from the Halo franchise. And things like other characters and other ideas for Fortnite were mentioned in this. But something very interesting was found in this document. I believe it was on page 58 of the document. They were going over some potential character skins that they were wanting to add to the game with people like The Rock and Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. No, not Metal Gear Solid Snake, but although he was based on Snake Plissken, so take that as you will. But one of the characters that was supposed to be in this and could still potentially be coming is Samus. Now, of course, Samus is known from the Metroid universe. We just did a video on Metroid Prime 4 on Sunday on the channel. Make sure you guys check that out if you haven't yet. A lot of good in-depth information on what is going on with Metroid Prime 4, but it seems like Epic has been working with Nintendo, or at least talking with Nintendo, to bring Samus into the Fortnite universe. And you know what? I don't like it. And this is just old man RGT talking, but I feel like it just kind of devalues your franchise a little bit, and it really doesn't, because if anything, it's putting the game in hands of kids, because a lot of kids play Fortnite, and obviously seeing a character like Master Chief, or Ryu from Street Fighter, or Kratos from God of War, or Chun-Li, like that brings brand awareness. If anything, it makes your brand more popular, but I just feel like it's not the time or place to put Samus in a video game. When you think of how long it's been since we've gotten a new Metroid Prime game, a proper Metroid Prime game, it's been 14 years. Samus doesn't really have a great track record with her latest game, of course, Metroid Prime Federation Forces, that nobody wanted and nobody really liked. Of course, there was also Samus Returns, but nobody bought that game either. So really, if anything, Metroid is a good fit for the Fortnite universe. Samus, of course, has an arm cannon. There is some sort of gunplay involved in it, which would tie in well with the Fortnite franchise. Of course, Metroid itself isn't a great selling franchise when you look at things as far as what other games sell on Nintendo platforms, so bringing more awareness to the Metroid universe isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, from my personal perspective, it would just feel cheap. It would just feel like devaluing the franchise, and it just wouldn't make sense to me. Like, I want actual Metroid stuff. Unless you have something happening with Metroid, why would you put Samus into this game? Now, obviously, this could happen, this might not happen. It's something that is at least in talks. Obviously, Nintendo is very protective of their IP, but if you look at it, they've been a bit more loosey-goosey with games like Cadence of Hyrule, which was developed by an indie studio that utilized, of course, the Legend of Zelda property. You have, of course, games like Mario and Rabbids, putting Mario in different positions in a game that was designed by Ubisoft. So I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility for Samus to show up in Fortnite. I just personally, I just wouldn't like it. I don't know. It's just something about it just seems weird to me. It just seems a bit off to me, but it would be potentially good for the Metroid franchise. So if it leads to more sales of games like Metroid and Metroid Prime 4, I guess it wouldn't be a bad thing at the end of the day. But just for me personally, I don't really want to see it. Other things that were included in this document were Sony being very hesitant about cross-platform play. Of course, Fortnite was the game that pretty much tilted Sony in order to access cross-platform play across the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. There was that whole Minecraft situation. situation where Nintendo and Microsoft were working with Minecraft where you could play it cross-platform play, and Sony was like, no, we don't want to do that. So a lot of interesting things from this document. Like I said, I'm not following the Apple and Epic case, but obviously Samus potentially being in Fortnite is a very big story. Me personally, I don't want it. I don't want it, but I do understand why Nintendo would want this from a business perspective, and I think a lot of people will disagree with me and actually want Samus in Fortnite. But are you one of those people? Do you want to see good old Samus in Fortnite? Let me know in the comment section down below. Next up, while Xbox One exclusives definitely diminished on the system, at least good Xbox One exclusives as the system went on, during the initial launch of the system, there was actually some really good games. Games like Rise, Son of Rome was really fun. I actually played that game much later than it actually released, and I still enjoyed it. A game like Quantum Break was really fun as well, but really, the best Xbox One exclusive game had to be Sunset Overdrive. It was a weird hybrid of like a bunch of different genres mixed into one, but I think it worked really well. It looked good, it played good, it was definitely a very fun game. Well, of course, Sunset Overdrive was developed by Insomniac Games. It came out on the Xbox One in 2014, and the game ended up getting a PC port back in 2018. Now, in 2019, Sony came along and actually purchased Insomniac Games, meaning that Sunset Overdrive was technically under their umbrella. But at the time, they didn't really have any plans to do anything with it, which I thought was kind of weird. At the very least, you could have ported Sunset Overdrive over to the PlayStation 4 at the time and had a really solid game that maybe some people missed out on because they did not buy an Xbox One and they don't play PC games. Well, recently a new trademark was discovered at the end of April of 2021 that involves Sunset Overdrive and Sony patenting Sunset Overdrive. So now a lot of people are speculating whether Sunset Overdrive could be getting a PlayStation 5 version, or maybe they're working on a sequel. And you know what? I say good. Go ahead and port over the original Sunset Overdrive and maybe make a new game in the franchise down the road as well. But I think this is a game that would look absolutely gorgeous with the additional power of the PlayStation 5. Like I said, this was a super fun game when it came out on the Xbox One. Definitely one of the best, if not the best games on the platform. And the PC version also came out as well, so you could sort of use the PC version to build off of it to utilize the PlayStation 5's additional power. But I think Sunset Overdrive is definitely a franchise that deserves to be a franchise. There should be more games within this universe, and I think it would be a big win for Sony. You know, like I said, remaster the original game, work on a sequel to it. There's a lot of things you can do within this game, and a lot of things you can do to sort of expand this franchise. But did you ever play Sunset Overdrive? If you own an Xbox system, I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's a super fun game, and a game that I definitely recommend, and a game that I hope sees more of a future on Sony platforms now that Sony owns Insomniac, and obviously they're doing something with the trademark for Sunset Overdrive. And finally, the internet can be a sneaky place, with everyone wanting video game news all the time and wanting the latest information and latest leaks. Sometimes information falls through the cracks and, well, people get fooled. You remember when Kotaku got fooled over the whole Halo Infinite being delayed until 2022 thing? They ran out there, they rushed a story out based on a tweet that was not from an official Halo account, and then they were like, oh, my bad, my bad. We didn't mean to do that. You know, stuff happens. Well, that actually just happened very recently with The Legend of Zelda. Now, obviously, Zelda is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. Many people are expecting some big things. Nintendo has dropped a few little nuggets here and there. We, of course, have The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD coming out this summer. Of course, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is also getting a bunch of DLC as well that we learned about in the last Nintendo Direct. Nintendo hasn't talked about that DLC, besides really just like a little picture of what to expect from it. So there is some reason to believe that a Zelda blowout event, much like we saw with Mario last year, could be potentially happening. Well, earlier this week on the internet, a fake Nintendo of America Twitter account posted out that a Zelda Direct was happening today on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, with 20 minutes of Skyward Sword HD information and a whole lot more about Zelda stuff. And of course, people didn't look at the source of this tweet. They just kind of ran with it, and well, some people got egg on their face. Obviously, this Direct did not happen this morning. It was never going to happen. I saw some of my YouTube colleagues made videos on it. They're like, oh, getting all hype and stuff. You know, it happens, but it's definitely something that you tend to see more and more often because people are just so thirsty for information on the video game industry. It's kind of been a quiet year as far as bigger announcements are concerned. We're obviously getting into the E3 season, so you're going to start seeing more and more things like this. Now, would Nintendo actually do a Zelda Direct before the E3 season? I don't think so. I think if Skyward Sword HD was coming out before E3, then yeah, you would probably I think if Skyward Sword HD was coming out before E3, then yeah, maybe you would have a better chance of seeing something like a Zelda Direct, but obviously there's going to be a lot of Zelda related events and information at E3 2021 this year when it comes to Nintendo. I think that's where the whole big blowout is going to be. I really don't expect Nintendo to do any sort of big things before E3 of 2021, but I mean, there is the potential that it could happen. Obviously, there is a lot of Zelda stuff to talk about. Like I said, we still need more information on Skyward Sword HD. We still need more information on this Hyrule Warriors DLC as well. So there is some groundwork for something to potentially happen, but I just don't see it happening before E3. So the internet once again got fooled by a fake tweet. People, just check your sources. You know, if you have any sort of doubt, double check your sources, triple check your sources, because you don't want to get egg on your face. But yes, obviously there was no Zelda Direct this morning, and you know, it kind of sucks because I would like more Zelda information, but you got to check your sources, people. All right, so that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel as well. Like I said, go check out that Metroid Prime 4 video. I did a pretty in-depth dive into the world of Metroid Prime 4 to see why maybe it's a little bit further away than we actually are anticipating. And as always, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Go Knicks. Later.